Welcome everybody, this is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform weekly community calls with Microsoft presenters, and this happens every single Tuesday, 8 a.m. Pacific time, except for the summertime in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, this summer we're looking into having a break within July and August to make it super clear when the calls are ending and when the calls are starting again. It's a bit of an annoyance that we'll have that 2 months off, but it also because US people and across the Microsoft people are taking a lot of time off during the summer holidays in the Northern Hemisphere, and it would be difficult to book the demos, so we're kind of aligning on that one. Now, the Thursday series, we're going to come back on the calls in a second. The Thursday series and monthly calls, they will keep on going throughout the summer as well. Now, today is April 9th, 2024, and my name is Vesa Juvonen. I'm a Principal Product Manager in the Microsoft 365 platform areas, and you are your host today. Let's get moving on the slides. If I can activate the right window, there we go, and here we go. So we're going to have the similar setup again as typically. We're going to go through the basic assets and recapping of the news and assets which are available for you to take advantage. There's a lot of stuff which we recap there. We absolutely get that. And it might be frustrating if you're always sitting in a call and it's like, we're always covering this stuff true, but there's always new people in the calls as well. So we need to make sure that all of the new people are aware of all of the assets which are available for them to get started. Now, we have a lot of news this week again from Microsoft, from the Microsoft blog, and then we'll do a group photo together within the Together mode, and then we go to today's demos. We'll start with Daniel, then we go to Sanjukta, and then Waldek as the last demo presenter. Hopefully that's fine for everybody on those presenters. Now, let's start moving on the assets. So first of all, we have a lot of assets available in social media, in the GitHub, in open source, all of that stuff. All of our calls, demos, all of that stuff can be found from the YouTube channel, Microsoft 365 Power Platform Community Videos channel. We're hitting 49,000 subscribers on that channel already, and publishing at least one video with every single business day, providing value and explaining how things work in Microsoft 365 or in Power Platform. So related on this bigger picture, better together. We have LinkedIn stuff, we have open source stuff, we have samples. A lot of this stuff is available. AKMS Community Home is the URL where you can find all of the different assets, and we're doing a massive makeover on that site. We're just reviewing the new site. It's looking really cool. I can imagine that within a few weeks we'll have something new there waiting with all of the latest information. Now, I did mention some of the calls. You are in the call, so you might be aware that this calls exist, which is awesome. If you're first time here, just making sure that you're aware on all of the different options. We do have quite a few of these calls happening. This is the Tuesday, 8 a.m. Pacific time, except on the summertime, as said. Then we also have the Power Platform and Office Admins monthly calls happening. We also have the Thursday, 7 a.m. Pacific time series, which is happening every single Thursday. It's either the Microsoft 365 Power Platform community call or Viva Connection and SharePoint Favorite community calls. So those are flipping basically bi-weekly. So that means every single Thursday, 7 a.m. there is a call to participate if you want to. All of the recurrent invites are at AKMS Community Calls URL, and we publish always the agendas at Community Meetup location. Really convenient way to know advance what is the agenda within the call or in a week advance, so you can kind of schedule and prioritize your scheduling for next week. Now, for a lot of these calls, we do welcome community presenters. It's not about Microsoft really just showing and dictating, and this is the best thing to do. No, we actually want to learn from each other. We want to learn from those real-world cases. You are using our tooling, our technology to build real-world solutions, and that's what we're interested in always seeing. So you can sign up for the demos at AKMS Community Request Demo. It is a simple form. Right now, we're getting a lot of people volunteering here, which is a great thing. But then it also means that if you sign up right now, there's a bit of a waiting time until you can actually join or have that demo location. But if you sign up today, the earlier you can actually get to demo, then better. That makes sense in English, maybe not. We'll see, I don't know. We have, anyway, a lot of other assets available for you to take advantage as well. The developer program has been in a bit of a pause. We're not stopping that. There's no decisions of stopping that, but it's currently in pause because that program is trying to figure out how do we do this in a safe way without malicious or bad people taking advantage of these free tenants. And that's why you cannot sign up for the program currently. Now, there is a way of going around that, which is, unfortunately, there's a small fee, but it's a $6 in a month and you will get one single tenant Microsoft 365 environment, $6 in a month. Yes, we know that's money, but it's not a massive amount of things which you have to pay for, and hopefully your employer can pay that for you. So that's the way you can actually still get a new tenant. It will not be free until we'll figure out what's going to happen with the developer program. A lot of modules also available for you to take advantage at the Microsoft learning location, Learn Modules location. Now, we do have different shows available for you to follow. Microsoft 365 PMP Weekly, where we go through all of the latest news within Microsoft 365 and Power Platform together with Waldek. That's hosted by me and Waldek. Waldek is the person who's doing one of the demos today. And we release that once a week typically, and then we have the bi-weekly happening Mondays at Microsoft together with Caruana and Heather, that is live streamed in LinkedIn and in the YouTube channel. The Microsoft 365 developer podcast might or might not come back. We'll need to still figure out, is it actually coming? Maybe it's coming back. We'll see what's going to happen in there, or will it be renamed? We'll see at some point. We also have a lot of samples available for you, so don't start from scratch. Have a look on if there's an existing sample available. This is a great location to find what are all of the awesome things what our ecosystem is building. One location where you can go and find all of the samples from Microsoft and from the community. So you don't have to figure out hey, wait a minute, so is this a thing? Is it in this repo, that repo, which GitHub organization? No, one location, go there, use the search, you'll find a relevant sample for you. That's really the intention of this portal. So please take advantage of this one. It will make you increase your productivity for sure. Now, we also have our Sharing is Caring initiative. It's really there to help you get started. But I will actually throw it to Canada, to Hugo, to do a quick intro on what this is all about.
Thank you. So if you've ever wondered how to get started with contributing to the community, and maybe you're afraid, right? Maybe you're thinking, it's not my place, nobody cares, everybody will make fun of me, or, my favorite, if I contribute to the GitHub repo, can I destroy the repo and ruin it for everybody? We understand these concerns, and we've been through that when we got started in the community. And that's what Sharing is Caring is about. It's about helping you get started without being afraid, without any of the fear. We have guidance sessions. For example, the general first-time contributor is a session where we show you how to do your first GitHub pull request. And we do it live, and it's a real pull request that actually counts towards your contributions. They're always small sessions. They're never recorded. They're a safe space. And the best part about it is once you've submitted your contribution, you'll get one of those cool awards that we'll talk about very shortly. But if you're interested in Sharing is Caring and finding out what sessions are available, go to aka.ms/sharing is caring. And once you have contributed, you get one of our fancy community recognition badges, which really help you showcase your contributions. It's powered by Credly, those same people that used to do the Microsoft certification. So it actually can show up on your LinkedIn profile and on your blog post, and you can put it on your resume. But it really shows to people that you're actually doing work in the community, and it's actually, real stuff. And you should be proud of it. You can go to aka.ms/community/recognition to register. When you register, all you need to do is associate your email address with your GitHub account. And when you do a recognized contribution, you'll automatically get the badge. And that's it for me. Back to Finland, Vesa.
Excellent. Thank you, Hugo, on that one. A few things as I'm watching the chat within the call. Hopefully people who are joining can all see the chat. There has been some technical issues on that one. If that's not the case, I do apologize on behalf of our company. One thing on the developer program, yes, 100% we acknowledge that we need to have more guidance on that one. I will try to prioritize that guidance in place and also give a reference point where we can get that $6 tenants where you can sign up and all of that. We're looking into potentially do a video over there on that one to get people unblocked. The second thing is Sharing is Caring has been a bit of a break because David was away, but now he's back and we're ramping up the thing. Also on the Credly recognitions and badges, these will come now in batches. So you will see if you sign up for a thing, you will see your name getting called, and you can basically then get claimed on getting the getting the badge. Again, there has been a bit of a delay on all of this stuff. We're catching up on things as the spring goes forward. Now, a quick recap on upcoming events. If I can move on the slides, and here we go. Microsoft 365 Community Conference coming on April 13th. So that is within 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how you calculate. That's 3 weeks. It's actually today is the first official start of that conference. Looking forward on seeing people over there. M365conf.com is really the location to see all of the details, presenters, workshops, and all of that stuff. Awesome stuff scheduled over there. Now, European Collaboration Summit is happening 14th to 16th of May in Wiesbaden, Germany. That's really close to Frankfurt, so in the central hub of Germany. And this is a community non-profit conference, which will be actually sold out apparently end of this week. So if you're still planning to go, they're really running out of tickets, and unfortunately there's a max venue capacity which they will be apparently hitting, which is 3,000 this year. Now, there's also TechCon 365 happening on that side of the pond, or US side of the pond, Seattle, DC, Dallas this year, starting from June 3rd at Seattle. Really cool option to see community members. And then there's the Power Platform Community Conference happening in Las Vegas at September 18th to 2024. That's going to be awesome as well, and happening in MGM. On top of these events, we have a lot of different community events. Most of these are free. Some of them might have a small pay, some of them are in person, some of them are remote. So go and have a look on what's available at communitydays.org, and you'll see all of these awesome events happening all around the world. I can see Poland, US, Texas, France, Polynesia, Toronto, and so on, already mentioned on the slide. So a lot of cool stuff happening all around the world. Now, on top of that,
can I jump in on that, Vesa? I'll actually be at the NACS1, the one that you had first on the list, starting tomorrow. So looking forward to seeing anyone that's there. Reach out, connect, and we can chat.
Sure. And that was Fabian Williams, just calling him out with the name. So North American Cloud and Collaboration Summit starts today or tomorrow, depending on how you calculate that one. Really great gathering in the US. Have a great time, and hopefully a lot of people will show up on there as well. Now, on top of that, we'll have the Global Copilot Summit going. Right now, you can see more details on this one at AKMS, Global Copilot Summit URL, different location, different cities, and really focusing for the Copilot, extensibility and Copilot value, what it can provide. This week on the news side, a lot of news from Microsoft across the different stack, Teams, SharePoint, Power Platform, Power Apps, Power Automate, all of that. I will paste in the links which are with all of this news in the chat in a second if you are interested on following up on what's happening over there. So let me actually add the link in. And then before we go to the Together Mode picture, we will have a quick update from Surpi related on Teams platform side. So what's happening on that side?
Thank you, Vesa.
There we go. There you are. Sorry. All good. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. So we've updated the common reasons for app validation failure article. To boost your app's chances of passing the Microsoft Teams Store submission process, avoid these common failures that are listed in the article. And by avoiding these, you will be able to increase the chances of successfully passing the submission process by up to 70%. So do go ahead, look into this article, and we want to hear more from you. If you have any feedback or suggestion, please post on aka.ms Teams platform feedback. The link is available in the footer. You could also configure to the RSS feed to get regular platform updates. Thank you so much, and over to you, Vesa.
Excellent. Thank you, Surpi, on that one. Really cool. Cool to learn from other people who have been submitting from them side as well. Now, the next thing, what we're going to do is to go to the Together Mode picture. If we can get the Together Mode to work. Unfortunately, it seems to be quite... Oh, there we go. Brilliant. It's working. I was already horrified. Well, we have an issue today on this one. We are pixel perfect, so I will not enable my camera and ruin the picture because that typically impacts the pixel perfect thing. Daniel is zooming in and out on the back row. And there we go. Let's see. We have 50 seats in a room. We'll wait for a while to get all of this moving. Elliot is upside down. That's a bit of a weird thing on the camera. But a few more seats in the room. And then we'll do some hand waving. Fabian in the middle can do the example. Brian is on the left. A few more. There it is. Now we're filling in. Let me put the recording on and we'll capture a GIF animation out of that and share that in the social media. Thanks everybody for joining. Good to see again. A lot of happy people waving hands in the screen. Excellent, excellent. Brilliant, brilliant. And that is maxed out by the way. 50 people in the house. That's really, really cool. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that one. We'll grab a GIF animation of that recording and share it in LinkedIn and in the Twitter X, whatever we call that nowadays. Now, then it is time to go to the actual demo section. Right on the schedule, we'll start with Daniel, then go to Sanjukta, and then Waldek as the last one. But Daniel, I think you are good to go.
Okay, great. Let me share my screen. There we go.
I can see the screen. All good.
Okay.
And take it away.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Daniel Laskewitz. I am a senior cloud advocate at Microsoft, and I work mostly on the Power Platform. And that's why I'm presenting this presentation on extending Copilot for Microsoft 365 with connector AI plugins in Copilot Studio. So for a quick recap of Copilot Studio, Copilot Studio is the tool to extend and customize first-party Copilots, but also to build your own custom Copilots. So as you can see here in this picture, at the top you can see a whole bunch of Copilots that we have within Microsoft. And you can, of course, also build your own custom Copilots. At the bottom of the image, you can see that you can also use other services outside of Copilot Studio to connect with your Copilot or even with one of the first-party Copilots. So you can use, for instance, bot framework skills inside of your custom Copilots. You can use Azure AI Studio to connect that to your Copilot, and there are tons of other options as well. But today, I'm going to talk about the Copilot for Microsoft 365 plugins, and I'm going to mostly talk about the Power Platform side of this. Before, a couple of weeks back, I already did a demo on prompt plugins, and Paulo did a session on conversational plugins, and now I'm going to talk about connector AI plugins. And that's the one that you can see here. There's also a Power Automate plugin that you can have, and we'll talk about that in the future. But for now, we're going to talk about connector AI plugins. And what are connector AI plugins? They are basically an extra setting inside of custom connectors that you can enable. And then you can certify that as a connector AI plugin, and that will be available inside of Copilot for Microsoft 365. So what's an example of that? For instance, the ServiceNow connector, that also has a connector AI plugin, and that can list incidents in ServiceNow via Copilot for Microsoft 365. And also the Salesforce connector also has a connector AI plugin, and that can, for instance, list and filter leads within Copilot Studio. So that's an example of the different connector AI plugins that we have. But if you want to create your own connector AI plugin, how does that work? You can create your connector just like a normal custom connector and make sure that it is enabled as a connector AI plugin. I'm going to show you how that works in a little later during the demo. And after you have created it, it's good to test your connector plugin with the validator tool. So there is a validator tool that you can download from Microsoft Learn. And you can use that to kind of try out if your connector is working well as the connector AI plugin. Because, of course, when you use Copilot for Microsoft 365, the thing is that you use natural language to trigger that connector. And of course, you want to test before you make it available for people if it really hits the right operations, for instance. So you can try out with your own natural language to to trigger that connector AI plugin and see if it does the right things. So that's something that you want to do. And after that, when you are completely happy with it, you need to certify it. And there's a certification process. I'll have a link of that later as well. And that certification process will go through Microsoft. So you have to certify it. And then when Microsoft is okay with it, it will be available for people in their tenant. And what happens next is that the Connector AI plugin will be available inside of the integrated apps area in the admin for Microsoft 365 area. And you can then go to settings, integrated apps, and available apps to deploy your Connector AI plugin to your users. So that's when you want to have, for instance, if your own custom connector, you have created that, you have certified that, you can find that in the available apps and you can deploy it to one person, multiple people, or even your whole company if you want to. And then it is available for those people. And then after that, they can use it in Copilot for Microsoft 365. So they can open it in the Copilot app for Teams. They can use the plugin flyout and then enable the connector in Copilot for Microsoft 365. So it's a couple of steps. You have create the connector. You need to enable it as the AI plugin. And as you can see in the screenshot in the middle, it's just a checkbox that you can enable for the action that you want to enable. And then after that, you want to validate it. So you want to check out if the right operations get triggered, etc. And then, of course, when you're ready, you can submit for certification. So I've already been talking a lot about it. Let's move on to a demo. And let's see if I can get this to work. Here we go. So here we are on the Copilot Studio homepage. This is where you can create your custom Copilot or extend it. We have a bunch of options here. We have the homepage, of course. We have Copilots where you can find all your custom Copilots, and we can extend here. When you click on extend, you can see that we have here Copilot for Microsoft 365 and other Microsoft Copilot experiences. In this case, we are gonna work with the Copilot for Microsoft 365. So here I have an option, add Power Platform components. I can click on that, and then I have all the options that I just summarized in the presentation. You can see that we have the conversation plugin, we have the prompt plugin, the flow plugin, and the connector plugin. If I click on connector, it will open Power Automate, and it will show the custom connector area here. And what I can do here is I can create a new custom connector if I want to, or I can work with an already existing connector. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to edit my connector that I have here as already. So when I open that, I can see just the normal experience of a custom connector. I have a couple of sections here. I have a general section where I can add the name of the connector. I can add an icon. I can add some descriptions. The URL is in there, etc. I have the security section where I can handle security. In this case, it's pretty easy because it's a no authentication connector. I can go to definition, and that's where all the operations are in. So here I can see that I have an operation to retrieve a random Chuck Norris joke, and I have an operation to get the categories. Then I also have the AI plugin section, and that's where my plugin manifest is. So what I can do here is I can add a name, I can add a description, I can add a contact email and legal terms, a URL, and that's basically all that you need to do for your manifest. And then we also have some plugin actions here. When I click on that, I can enable that action as a Copilot plugin operation. And when I do that, then it will be one of the operations that is available for the Connector AI plugin. So here I have the get joke and the get categories one, for instance. When I enable this, I can update the connector, and then I can start trying out with the validator if the connector is working well. The things that you really want to notice here is that the summary and the description, for instance, they all have the edit in definition tab thing here. And that means that whenever you want to change the description or the summary, you need to do that in the definition tab. And this is really important because all these descriptions and all these metadata fields, they are being used to trigger the right parts for the connector. And that's also being fed into the large language model. So you really need to make sure that you have right descriptions and summaries, because otherwise that will go wrong. But when you are done, for instance, you can just close it and you can download the connector, because when you want to validate your connector, you need to download it first. When you download it, you get the Swagger file. And from that moment on, you can start validating it. And let me switch to that part because I'm not going to demo that live. But we have the validator tool. That's the plugin validator.exe. And you have a couple of parameters in there. Also the Swagger file in there. You have to have the URL of your Azure OpenAI service instance. You need to have a key. You need to have the name of the model. But that when you run that, you can test out your connector. And then whenever you run that, let me see. Here we go. I think. Yeah, there we go. So when you run that validator, it will ask you to enter a prompt to test the plugin, and that's where you can enter your natural language. So here I can ask for a Chuck joke from chucknorris.io, which is the connector that I use. And when I hit enter, you can already see that the operation ID is get joke. So from that prompt, the get joke operation is triggered. But that's not really interesting so far. But when you go a little bit more advanced, you can also ask for a Chuck Norris joke from the dev category, and then it will add the category to the URL, for instance. So here it has category is dev. So that's also a question that you can ask the connector. And you can also ask for the Chuck Norris IO categories, and that's a completely different URL that it uses, and it goes to the get categories endpoint and the categories URL. So that's how you can validate if it hits the right parts. Let me quickly move to the demo again. Oh, hold on, there we go. And I'm gonna go to Teams to show you how it actually works as a user. So when I hit the plugins menu inside of Copilot, I can enable the Chuck Norris IO connector from here because I have already deployed the app here. And now I can ask for a Chuck Norris joke. So can I get a Chuck joke from Chuck Norris IO? And then Microsoft 365 Copilot will look at all the different plugins that I have available, which are enabled. And it will also look at the Copilot for Microsoft 365. And then it will respond with the joke if it finds it. And in this case, I can click on the reference and you can see that the Chuck Norris IO Power Platform connector is being used. And because I also enabled the developer mode, you can also see what has been done with the plugin. So here you can see that I have the Chuck Norris IO connector plugin also enabled. It's matched, it's selected, and even the execution details, you can see here that it has a success. And that's how you can make sure that the right plugin is triggered in this case. So that's how you use it. And lastly, I have some resources. So these are the URLs for the prerequisites for plugins, how to create a connector AI plugin. It will have a Microsoft Learn link there, and you can find a lot of details about that. And also I have a link for the certification process. So that's how you can how you can see how you can certify your connector plugin. And with that, I want to pass it along to the next demo.
Excellent. Thank you, Daniel, on that one. Really, really cool and a simple way to do that. So super cool stuff. And this is the way, just on the chat, putting on questions in the chat. So the choke here is just a reference point. Of course, it can be any external system where you actually are hitting the APIs and doing the plugins on. We're just using simple examples for getting a chokes in this case. Cool. I guess that's it for now from Daniel. So let's then move to Sanjukta related on direct file upload API support in the SharePoint files through the Microsoft Graph.
Hey, Vesa, is my voice audible?
Yep.
No, you don't say yes. She said, is her voice horrible? Your voice is fine.
Audible.
Audible. Okay, she said horrible.
Okay.
I don't
it's
speak
really
English.
I'm going to share my screen and kindly confirm if my screen is up.
Yep, we can see the screen. Take it away.
All right. Thank you so much. Firstly, good morning, good afternoon, evening from wherever you're joining. I'm very glad to meet you all. And I think I'm meeting you for the first time. So I'm very, very glad to meet you all. So today I'm going to talk about a new behavior of direct streaming of content, which is now enabled for drive items at Graph endpoint. Now, before we go into the enhanced behavior, let's quickly recap what the current behavior is so that we all are on the same page. So today, when you attempt to download a content of a drive item through Graph endpoint, you are redirected to a pre-auth URL, which again you need to hit to actually get the content. What does that mean? So let's see. When you hit let's say you are hitting graph.microsoft.com drive ID and /content, you get a 302 response. And with that 302, and I'm going to have a demo, with that 302 and a location header, you need to hit the location again to get the actual content. This has got a lot of pain points. One, of course, is because it kind of results in redundant calls for the same operation, which increase network round trip. And it's not a good performance, neither for Microsoft nor for any client which is calling the endpoint. Which is why now we have enhanced the behavior and we have introduced a new beta endpoint, which will enable you directly stream the content from the Graph endpoint for any drive item. So the endpoint URLs are going to be same as you are using today. It's just that you need to add a beta because it's rolled out in beta. Now let's see what is the change here. So when you hit, so that updated endpoint is instead of /content, you have to write content stream. And with that, when you hit, you directly get the content without getting a pre-auth URL and without having to call the to network for the same operation. Now, what it entails, it provides you an improved calling pattern because you are calling only once, which of course enhances your network performance. And also it's an enhanced security because there is no pre-auth URL given to you which needs to be hit. And hence it's a direct download, which of course enhances the security, right? Now, a lot of more details about permissions. Nothing changes at the permission end, but if you really want to know more about it, I'm going to paste this link of our documentation, which you can refer for more details. Now, without any further ado, let me quickly jump through a demo, and I have lined up a series of snapshots here. And I've used a Postman as an interface to kind of carry out this demo. So let's see, you are hitting today, this is a current behavior, you are hitting an endpoint to download the drive item content through graph.microsoft.com /drive item ID and /content. Now, when you hit this, you get a 302. And then when you go to header, you see there is a location, which location is the same location as you get for drive item response as the download URL location. And you then need to call this location explicitly. And if you have this restore default enabled, it automatically kind of redirects the call to download the content. But any which way, it requires 2 calls to download the content, which increases the network overhead. Now, what we are doing going forward is now you need to hit a new endpoint. Instead of content, write content stream. And then when you hit that, it automatically downloads all the content directly without you requiring to hit twice and getting redirected to a pre-auth URL. So it kind of entails all the benefits I just spoke about. And it's, again, I'm calling out, it is released in beta. So, we highly recommend that you test it out and you tell us the feedback, so that it helps us benchmark things and elevate to GA as soon as possible. So with that, I would like to see if there's any question on the updated behavior or anything. I'm happy to answer.
I think in general, going audio questions is really hard on this course because we have more than 200 people. But let's see, Elliot has a hand up. On the chat, we only see questions related on definitions. But Elliot, I think you have one question.
Yeah, hopefully this will go the other way soon as well. Just curious about the future of stuff like this, because I think we've long had issues when we're looking at Power Automate and Power Apps and stuff using these APIs and interacting with larger files. Hopefully something like this is really going to enable us to push data around a lot more easily. Do you foresee us having things going in the other direction as well soon? Yeah, how tied into the infrastructure of those actions that we have available in the connector is this?
I just wanted to clarify, is the question is for this particular session, because I kind of heard connectors. So is this for Daniel? Just wanted to clarify.
No, sorry. I am literally just talking about the API. Just wondering if there is a future that we're going to see more direct access to the file system in both directions. Bi-directional.
Okay. Yes. So I would take that question as a feedback, and at this point in time, beyond this, I don't have too many information to kind of keep you posted, but I will take that and I'll keep you posted as and when more updates come in. But at a generic level, I can say that Microsoft is always working to kind of make the experience smoother and smoother. So we are in process of identifying all those bottlenecks, which kind of increases network overhead or performance overhead, like the one you cited. And we are in constant, thrive to kind of make things and experience better for you. So hopefully things are lined up and will come up to kind of smoothen your experience. But please share if there is any specific feedback through multiple channels available, so that it reaches to product group like us, and we can keep you posted as things go.
I'm bursting with ideas for this. So yeah, thank you. It's really good. Thanks.
Cool. We can try Sumit, if you can go unmute.
Yeah, I have a question. Like, I have been using Graph API explicit like a lot of time for my project implementation. One of the challenges I face is, like, let's say I have a message, the message has replies to it. So in the Graph API, I never found an endpoint wherein I can pull out the replies directly or access it. What I need to do is I need to go to the message, and then I need to pass the message ID to get the reply IDs. So is there any way like we can have it like in a single call, we can have all the replies for a message, or a filter criteria on the replies? Because in my project, I need to go through, let's say a message can have any reply, which can be last 2 months, which has been edited now. So for my specific thing, I need to recursively go through all the messages every time and perform the action.
So if I understand your question correctly, you want to understand if there's any way for you to get only the replies for you to parse things smoothly. Did I get your question correctly?
Yes, because let's say in a channel, we have messages. So what I need to do, I need to go to the channel, then get the message IDs, then make another call to get the reply IDs, and then the reply messages and the information. So anyway, yeah, quite like.
I get your point. So Sumit, why don't I do this? I will take your ID from here, and I will start a thread with you so that I can understand your scenario better and can guide you what's available today and take your feedback, what more enhancement we can do later.
Sure. Yeah, that's really helps. So
Okay,
you
thank
want me to ping you my ID like the on the
Yes,
chat?
you please do that. Yes, please do that. We'll stay connected.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, over to you, Vesa.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for that one, and thank you for helping some of the questions. We'll follow up on, and if there's any other questions, please use the chat or then our forums. Otherwise, we are always looking into getting those answers and questions answered on these topics. Now, the last demo of today is from Waldek. Waldek, what is this demo all about? I can see the screen. Let's double check the audio.
Perfect. All right. So
audio is good. Sorry, just confirming and saying, take it away. There we go.
thank you. Right now, let's talk about APIs, right? Because when we build apps, typically we need to show the data in it, right? Like whether it's orders, customers, information about files, documents, whatever you've got, tickets. It's all about data that you show in your apps. And the data comes from APIs. And how often is that the case when you build your app, either the API hasn't been built yet, API isn't available to you yet because in your org you need to get access to it, so you need to get approval to be able to access the data, or maybe the API is being built as we speak with your own team, and then would you wait? Would you try to build your own mocks? Would you want to write code that you know you won't ship, and with that you waste your time? We think that there's a better way, right? So in the next few minutes, I'd like to show you a better way, what we think a more efficient way to work with APIs and to have mock APIs for all the times when you need, whether you need a demo, whether you're building an app and the API isn't there. So basically create APIs that you can easily use, and then at some point when the real API is available, replace it so that you can have a fully fledged app without having to ever write any code that you won't ship. Okay, so this is a part of the feature set that we offer with Proxy. A Proxy is an API simulator that you can use with any OS, any type of app. So the idea is, I don't have an API, I'm building an app. I'd like to show, in this case, some info about the customers. So what I've got here, which you see on the screen, is a JSON file with some info about the customers. The data in here is coming from the Northwind DB, and it's just basically a bunch of customers that we've got and that we would like to show in our app, right? So typically the way you would go about it, you would go to your code, write some mock API so that you can build your app, or maybe do some weird things like trying to load the data from a JSON file. Basically write a bunch of code that you will need to replace at some point. We think there's a better way. So with Proxy, you can use this to, within minutes or maybe even less, simulate a fully fledged function API, which you can call, right? So the way it works, this is a file that you bring and you define its shape. It can be, again, customers, orders, tickets, whatever you want. You decide its shape and contents. Next, you create a file that instructs Proxy which features you want to use. In this case, we will use the CRUD API plugin, which allows us to do exactly that, simulate a CRUD API. So CRUD stands for Create, Read, Update, Delete, right? So we will do that. And we want that API to run on this api.northwind.com URL, and we will have another file which then defines the different operations that we want to do. So in this case, we want to be able to get all of the customers, get one, and then create new one, update, delete, and so forth and so on. So with that, let's see that in action. First, I'm going to start Proxy with the config that you've just seen. And in here, we can see that we have 5 actions for CRUD API. Again, 1, 2, created 3, merge, 4, and 5. So we can now use that API to do all of these actions. So let me switch to request. And let me now issue a REST call, a GET call to this URL, which maps to get all the customers. What does get all do? Exactly what it says. Returns all values that we've got in the file that we use kind of as the backing store. So let's issue that call and let's see if that works. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. There you go. So there is a response. So now we have a fully fledged API that we can use in our app to communicate with, and we can do it with our real code. because that is just an API call on your box. The cool thing is there is no real API behind the scenes. There is no, you haven't deployed anything. You're not running a web server. We haven't written any web API or node code. This is simulated API that we do for you in any shape you want. All right, let's try an article. Let's try to see if we can get this one account here. So let's try to get a customer from here. Voila, we have our response, right? So in here, you can see we get one account or a customer, and that maps again to the action that we've got here, get one, and we even have this ability where we have a URL with a template, and in here we define a token, which we then use in a JSON path expression, which is the funky stuff here, which we basically use to look up in the data file that we've got here, which part of the object we want to give back. So in this case, we look up a customer, which maps to the customer ID that we passed on the URL, right? So if we go back to the request, we pass the ID here, and that is how we find the record back. Cool, so all of that works. What if you would try to simulate an error? In other words, maybe the user typed incorrect name, or maybe something. We can do that too. So again, if you pass something that is invalid, we will give you a fully fledged 404 error, basically the same way you would expect from a real API. Cool, so we've seen gets. Can this thing do more? Absolutely. What if you want to, in your app, you're building a part of the app where you create a customer, right? So you want to have the ability where you have a list, and then at some point you will have a new screen, new customer screen, to basically have the ability to add some additional info. We can call a post call too, because again, in our API, we defined a create action. So this API is now capable to support a post call to this URL, right? With a payload. Let's execute that. We get the response back. And now the question is, can we get that back? So if we go back, let's see if we can retrieve it. Yes, we can. What's really cool here, this record was not originally included in our list. There is no Parker in here, right? So in other words, we have this in-memory API, in-memory store, to which we just added a new record, right? So as long as dev proxy work, it will keep track of this record, and you can now edit it, delete it, update it, whatever you want to do, right? You can add more, and it will stay it will stay available as long as dev proxy work. This makes it for a really great way for you to do a demo or even test if your add part of the app works as you want it to, or your update, deletes. You can test all of that without building any dummy APIs. Again, don't write code you will not ship. So far, we've seen all these calls being anonymous. In reality, none of the APIs you use in your work are anonymous, right? So if there is something that doesn't deal with auth, in reality, that's just a toy. And that's exactly what we think. So in this case, we also give you an ability to simulate Entra secured APIs. Again, there is nothing in Entra. I haven't created anything in Azure. But for your app that uses the API, it will actually think that it talks to a truly an API secured by Entra. Let's see how that works. So originally, I said that my API is anonymous. Let's remove this and let's enable some of these things, okay? So here, let me enable these two options, and we will talk about like what they are. So the first part is auth Entra. That defines that this whole endpoint, or actually all the endpoints on this API, are secured by Entra. And you can also choose to only have one action behind Entra, or two, but not everything. So all of that is up to you. You have the ability to choose how you want to go about it. When you do that, you have to choose, okay, what are the different things you want dev proxy to verify? Like the easiest one, audience, right? So you want to ensure with that the access token that is used on the request is issued for this particular API. So in other words, if you get a token for Microsoft Graph and you try to call this API, it will fail because you're using a token for a different API. Let's see that in action. So first things first. Our API is now no longer available anonymously. So if we repeat the same call that we've done initially, we will get Let's see if that, oh, that didn't work. I did something. Let's see if I missed a comma. Oh yeah, there's a dangling comma here. Let me remove that. Let's see if that worked. There you go. I am debugging this on the fly. This is live. There you go. Error message unauthorized. Why? Because we're issuing anonymous call without an access token to an API that is no longer anonymous. Cool. So let's include a token here, right? So this is basically the basic way in which you do the bearer auth, right? So you include a token on the request, and again, unauthorized. Why? Why is this unauthorized? If we go all the way back, we scroll past my errors, right? We'll see the specified token is not valid. Well, duh, because a token needs to have like 3 things. It's got to have the header, the body, and signature, right? Okay, so let's include a token with 3 parts. Let's see if that will work. No, it's unauthorized again because it's not of the right format, right? A JOT token of Entra needs to be a base64 encoded string, and this one is not. Okay, cool. So now we have here a token that kind of looks exactly what we need to have, right? Like it seems like there's a header, there's base64 encoded header, body with everything, and there's a signature part. Let's see if this one will work. Let's run it again. No, again, unauthorized. What's wrong with that? Well, because apparently this token does not includes incorrect audience, right? So here in the error, you can see, right, that we expected the audience of CEDA, which we expressed again here, right? So here, if we go to our API definition that we've got here, this is the audience that we expect, that we allow. Instead, the token that we used uses this audience here, which is incorrect. So that is really an easy way for us to check if the app that connects to an API is working the way it should, right? Whether it's using the correct code to obtain a token without having to write any dummy API or even going to Azure. Right? So if you don't have access to Azure, this is a perfect way for you to be able to write actual real code that actually works in production without having to deploy anything to production first, right? Cool. Let's see if this works, because maybe I am showing you something that never works and I just pretend for this to be, like a thing while it isn't. It actually works. If you use a valid token with the right audience, you will be able to authenticate and you will be able to get the data from the API. Cool. What are the other things that we can check? We support checking for things like issuer. So if you have a single tenant app from which tenant has a token being issued, right? We allow you to check for scopes. So if you use a custom API with your own scopes, you can even check if you've got the right scopes. You can even go as far as to say different operations on the API require different scopes, exactly the way it works in reality. Because for read operations, you need different scopes than for writes. So you can simulate all of that in here too. You can even check if the token didn't expire, right? Because that's exactly what you will do for real too. Like if you use a token that you obtained 2 hours back, it will no longer work. And then finally, this is the real thing. Validate the key. So far, I created a token by myself, right? So I just went, decoded it, added that by myself, perfectly fine, right? So let me show you all of that, right? So all of that will work. If I save this and I will issue the same call again, we will have unauthorized. Why? Oh, because the lifetime validation failed. Of course, because the token that I got was created way back, right? So with this option, this code will already not work. So let me comment it out. Let me try again. And let's try the call again. This will work. Cool. As I said, I built a token by myself. So if I were to validate its signature, it will not work, because this token isn't real. I haven't obtained the token from Entra, right? It's not a real token. It's a token that I made by myself. So with that, I will get unauthorized and I will get a big error saying that this token isn't real. It didn't match any of the keys. So in other words, look how cool it is. We just saw that based on a basic data structure that we've got, we were able to stand up a fully functional API with create operations, read all, read one, edit, update, delete, whatever. We were able to do that in minutes without writing any line of code that we wouldn't ship. right? So we have the file. The only thing that we had to add in instruct, like which URL do we want to use and what are the different features that we want to do. But we actually did more. We built an API, or we stood up an API secured by Entra. And that is a really powerful thing because, again, it allows you to validate that all your code in your app that uses the API works the way as intended. Whether you get the right token from the right issuer with the right scopes, whether you properly deal with things like expiration, whether you do authentic things with it, right? So you can test all of that without deploying anything anywhere. And that is really the whole point, to let you, empower you to work really efficiently. Don't waste time on writing any code that you won't ship so that you can focus on the things that matter, which is building apps that help the customers and colleagues with whom you work. So with that, thank you. And I would encourage you all to give this a try. I will share in a moment a few links that you can use to check it out. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Waldek, on that one. Really, really cool and such a great tool, such a great tool for everybody who's writing APIs or calling APIs and trying to troubleshoot things. So thank you. Great stuff in there. Now, thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Sanjukta. Thank you, Waldek. Awesome demos today. Next week, just a preview on there, we might actually have a third demo presenter, but it might be that we only have two, which is fine as well. And we can adjust the demos to be a bit longer. But we're looking into having on 16th of April, first of all, a get to know a new Microsoft list form experience. This is the new experience where you're able to use low code or no code to create forms and automate things, then using Power Automate behind the scenes. Really, really cool stuff, which has got a lot of attention recently, and it's currently rolling out into production. And the second thing is our new chart card component in the Viva Connection, which was released as part of the SharePoint Framework 1.19, which is evolving again on the capabilities what we can do within the Viva Connection for frontline workers and automate things behind the scenes. And we're going to have a look on a bit more detailed what's happening on that side. So looking forward on that demo as well. Looking forward my own demo. That sounded really weird, but I'm looking forward presenting that demo. That sounds much better. But that's on 16th of April. We might have a third demo there potentially, but it might be that we'll have two only. Now, in the meanwhile, you can use our official Discord server to have a discussion with other people in the community. This is not a replacement of any of the other forums which we have. There's so many forums, so many locations, but this is basically just saying if there is a demand for a community Discord server where community can help each other directly where they are. And we have more than 1,900 members here. We're closing in 2,000 members within a relatively short time frame. So clearly people like this thinking. Also, we are always looking for feedback around this call. So please, if you have 1 minute to 2 minutes, fill in the feedback form, give us feedback related on the content in the call, so we're able to continue doing these calls in the future. Obviously, if you don't like this calls at all, then maybe don't give that feedback. No, absolutely. Constructive feedback, always welcome. But of course, we're looking into having ideas and feedback from you in a straightforward and transparent way. Now, this call recording will be available in the Microsoft 365 community YouTube channel, Microsoft 365 Power Platform community YouTube channel within 24 hours. You cannot access the recording directly from chat, even though it seems that it's available there, and that does not work with external people, unfortunately. But if you subscribe on that YouTube channel, you will immediately know when it's available, so you can easily follow up on and catch the recording from there. The next community call, Tuesday one, is on April 16th, and you can always check up all of the latest community calls that AKMS community calls. But that's it for now. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you Waldek, Sanjukta, and Daniel one more time on the great demos today, and see you all next time. Have a great rest of the week. Cheers. Bye-bye.